Have you ever just stopped and looked at the world and wondered how ancient cultures made sense of it all? Not just, the stars and the moon, but the actual energy of life itself. That rhythm of growth and peak and then decay and then renewal all over again. Well, today we're going to dive into a really beautiful and profound system from traditional Chinese philosophy that does exactly that. I mean, just think about it for a second. Spring just bursts with new life, right? Summer is just radiating with this peak energy. Autumn starts to gather everything in, and then winter goes quiet and dormant. We see this cycle absolutely everywhere. And the ancients? They didn't just notice it, they mapped it. They saw this universal power at play, a kind of hidden logic behind the constant flow of energy in the world, and get this, inside of us too. So the big question is, how did they picture it? They pictured it as this incredible dynamic dance between what they called the five elements, or maybe better put, five phases of energy: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Now, these aren't just the literal things. You've got to think of them more like archetypes of energy. Wood is all about growth and expansion. Fire, that's your peak energy, radiance. Earth is about nourishment, stability. Metal is about contracting, structure. And water is that deep, quiet potential. The amazing part is these five are constantly interacting, always moving through this beautiful cycle of creating and controlling each other. So to really get this dance, the first thing we need to do is connect these elements to the seasons. Makes sense, right? Just like a flower has its season to bloom, each one of these elements has a time of year when its energy is super strong and a time when it's, well, not so much. Let's take a look at how that works. The ancients came up with this really specific vocabulary to describe an element's energy level during any given season. These five states basically give us a snapshot of its power level. Prosperous is when it's at its absolute peak. Assisting means it's the next one up, it's gaining strength. Resting is when its job is done, it's taking a break. Imprisoned is when it's being held back or suppressed. And dead means its energy is totally depleted. And this whole interplay, it's not random at all. As this chart shows, there's a really elegant, logical system behind which element is strong and when. You can almost think of this as the rule book for how energy flows through the year. Okay, I know. Looking at this for the first time, it might seem a little complicated, but trust me, the logic behind it is just beautiful once you see it. Let's just walk through one line together to make it crystal clear. We'll start with spring, that first row there. All right, so in spring, wood is the star of the show. It is absolutely dominant. Think of a forest in April just exploding with life, right? So wood is prosperous. Now, what does wood do? In the creative cycle, wood fuels fire. So fire is assisting. It's next in line, getting ready for summer. So what created the wood in the first place? Water did. And now that the wood is all grown, the mother element, water, gets to take a well-deserved break. It's resting. Meanwhile, in the control cycle, metal is the element that cuts wood. But since wood is so powerful in the spring, metal's energy is totally suppressed. It's imprisoned. And finally, where does wood get its nutrients? From the earth. With all this new growth happening, the earth's energy gets used up, so it's considered dead. See that? It's like a complete ecosystem of energy, all in perfect balance. So that's the big picture, right? The grand sweeping cycle of the year. But this way of thinking goes so much deeper. I mean, if an element's energy rises and falls through the seasons, does it also have its own, more personal story? And the answer is a huge yes. The ancients actually developed an even more detailed system to track the life story of each individual element. It's like a biography of its energy, following it from birth to its peak, through its decline, and right back to the beginning again. So, how does this build on what we just learned? Well, you can think of it like this. The five states we just looked at give us a broad snapshot of an element's power in a season. It's like a single photo. But this next system, the 12 stages, gives us a much more detailed month-by-month story of an element's entire life. It's really the difference between a single photo and a full-length movie. This system is called the 12 stages of life, and it uses the metaphor of a human life, our lives, to describe the changing phases of an element's energy. It's a journey through 12 really distinct steps, and each one has its own unique character and feel. Let's just look at a few of the key moments in this journey. The whole cycle kicks off with birth. The source text puts it so beautifully, saying it's like a person just born, growing toward prosperity.
It's that feeling of pure potential, of brand new beginnings, when energy is just starting to bubble up and rise.
Then, at the very height of the cycle, we hit the peak state. This is described as the moment when all things are mature, like a person at the height of their power and prosperity. This is it. This is maximum strength, full expression. It's the energy of an emperor at the absolute zenith of his reign.
And, of course, after the peak, the cycle comes to an end in a stage called grave. Now, I know that sounds a little bleak, but the concept is way more nuanced. The original text also call it the storehouse. It's seen as a time when all things have achieved success and are stored away. It's not just an ending. It's about completion. It's where energy and wisdom are gathered up and preserved, getting ready for the next cycle to begin.
And what's so incredible is that this isn't just poetry or a nice metaphor. As you can see from this chart, it is a seriously detailed and rigorous system. Each of the 10 elemental variations has its own unique 12-stage life cycle, mapped out precisely across the 12 months of the year. It's like this complex interwoven clockwork of cosmic energy. It's just amazing.
Okay, so here is where this ancient wisdom offers, I think, its most profound and useful lesson for us today. It's so easy to look at these cycles and think, okay, birth and peak, those are good, and grave and dead, those are bad. But that is just not how this philosophy sees the world at all. The crucial insight comes right from the classical texts themselves, and they say this: seeing prosperous states isn't necessarily good, and seeing resting or dead states isn't necessarily bad. I mean, that one idea just turns our modern obsession with more completely on its head. It's all about balance and what's appropriate for the moment. Think about it. An energy that's at its absolute peak might actually be too intense, maybe too rigid, and even prone to breaking. Sometimes, less is more. And on the flip side, an energy in the grave or storehouse phase might represent all this accumulated wisdom and wealth, a peaceful rest before a brand new start. So the goal isn't just constant maximum power, it's harmony and flow. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This whole system gives us a language for the natural rhythms of life. It teaches us that there are times for growth and times for shining bright, times for pulling back, and times for deep rest. And none of them is better than the other. They are all essential parts of a complete, healthy cycle. So the question for all of us is, how can this ancient way of seeing the world help us to better understand and maybe even appreciate the different seasons of our own lives?